Hello, 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 boys and girls. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a while. It's going to be talking about Warhammer Community, the place where you can get your Warhammer information. And right here, we got a post about a brand new Bretonnia novel. Now, I love Bretonnia. Bretonnia is a really cool country in the Warhammer fantasy world. It's basically a mix of the French and Arthurian mythology. It is a place where you have this upper class of gallant and noble knights and a bunch of enslaved serfs. And then kind of an in-between of merchants, sort of. It's complicated. The point is, Bretonnia is this, like, fine, noble, regal place that is a veneer for just horrific atrocity and oppression and just bad things. It is a very patriarchal society, is a very oppressive and repressive society. And why is there a woman knight? The society that literally believes the peasants are just inferior by nature of being of a lower position in society, that believe in things like chivalry, sanguinity, charity, and the defense of ladies against the evils of the world. Have a woman knight. Okay, look, maybe they explain it. Maybe it's explained as like this is going to be some kind of like super badass warrior, or maybe like she's avenging her dead brother or something. Let's read the actual article. Warhammer, the old world, is nearly here, bringing back the Bretonnians, Tomb Kings, and many more factions from the Warhammer fantasy battle setting. This isn't the end times, though. The von Karstein dynasty is currently dead as can be. The colleges of magic have not yet been established, and the Skaven menace has vanished into myth. But the world of legend is no less dangerous, and the first you'll get to read about it is in Graham McNeil's Lords of the Lamp. Now, I know nothing about Graham McNeil. I've never read any of his other work. Judging by the interview he gives in this article, I am not happy. The son of Baron Lothar Aquilena of the Border Princes has been taken hostage. Despite their bitter relationship, the Baron has called the debt of honor owed to him by Duke Carad of Quenelles, and their uneasy alliance of warrior knights is forced to mount a treacherous expedition into the land of the dead, where kings and queens of old rest uneasy in their tombs, and life struggles to find purchase. So, the Border Princes is basically like the Balkans. It's kind of like, it's the gateway into quote-unquote Europe via the routes that would be equivalent to the Middle East and Central Asia, etc., etc. So that's one part of the novel that I'm interested in, like seeing how the Border Princes works. Are we going to see, because you already have Eastern Europe is represented by Kislev, so I am not too familiar with the Balkans region. So we'll aside from the fact that you've got Greece there, so is this going to be like some Greek type stuff, like some Byzantine inspired things, or is there a different aesthetic associated with the Balkans? Are we going to get like a Vlad the Impaler, but a mortal type character? Who knows? I don't know. It could be pretty interesting. We're also gonna. I know there are novels out there that have the Tomb Kings. I am very interested to read about the Tomb Kings, so I've never done that. And then it's going to talk about how you could also get this version of the thing, which I was very tempted to get this more expensive version, because you also get this really cool map on the inside. And then I read further. So this is the actual interview with Graham McNeil. Out as a field to write the inaugural novel for a return to this beloved setting. The old world has held a special place in my heart, and I love telling stories set in its grim and perilous landscapes. I'd always held out hope that I might one day go back there. So to write this inaugural novel of the setting's return is pretty special. I have the rare privilege of introducing a whole new swath of readers to the old world. How cool is that? What's the novel all about? Lords of the Lancers is a tale of an expedition to the land of the dead to rescue the captured son of Baron Lothar Aquilena, and a Bretonnian knight living in self-imposed exile in the Badlands. Really? Okay, because you said the Border Prince. Anyway, his former brother at arms, Duke Circus Carad, and his knights of Quenelles ride with him. But there's no love lost between the two. Add in a Grail Knight, so shit's gonna get real. Pegasus Riders, Handmaidens of the Lady, and of course, the denizens of the land of the dead, and you've got a recipe for adventure.
As to what readers should look out for, well, it's a classic tale of Warhammer daring do, fantastical monsters, gallows dark grit, and a fight for survival against the odds. So,
this looks like a good picture. This is a solid picture, except for woman. Also, having a Pegasus is like typically a sign. It's not like something you just give a random person. This is like something you give to a high tier combatant, because there are so few Pegasi. You don't waste them on like in most parts of Bretonnia. So Quenelles is an exception because they're where the Pegasi are typically bred. But in most of Bretonnia, you have to be like a baron or even a duke to acquire a Pegasus. So this isn't just some like random jobber lady. This is someone who is important to the story and will be a phenomenally high-ranking fighter. So they will have to explain why she's on a Pegasus and why this guy isn't. Because I'm assuming this is the Baron. The Duke. I'm assuming this is the Duke. Why wouldn't the Duke of Quenelles, which is known for its Pegasi, be the guy in charge of the Pegasus? Anyway. So this is just explaining, so for those of you who don't know, you have the end times, which is basically like the apocalypse, and this is an explanation of how it's different. I'm not going to get into that because the end times doesn't exist. This is what mildly angered me. Is the character of Bretonnia different a few hundred years in the past? Bretonnia is a very oppressive and repressive society. They are a very traditional society, a very patriarchal society. Very little of this book is set in Bretonnia, but the attitudes of the lords and knights to the peasant host will be very familiar to the fans of that realm. In many ways, the more things changes, the more they stay the same situation. But there are a number of differences the readers will spot very early on in terms of who can be a knight and how some of the characters feel their land could or should be, as opposed to how it actually is. So basically, he's forcing in modern-day politics into Bretonnia, the oppressive, repressive, like Bretonnia is... Okay, Warhammer is not satire. Warhammer is absolutely not satire, but what Bretonnia is a commentary on the Middle Ages. We like to idealize the Middle Ages as this time of grandeur and nobility and heroism, but there is still the disgusting rot in how peasants were treated, how serfs were treated compared to the nobles. That is what Bretonnia represents. It is the beautiful veneer of nobility that exists on the backs of slave labor. There is no other way to describe how the Bretonnians treat their peasants. It is honest to God slave labor in all effect. So basically what's going to happen in this book, I'm going to make some predictions. You're going to have several characters argue that the peasants should be treated better universally, that women should be allowed to fight, and that gender should not be a factor in what keeps them from fighting. Which, yeah, Bretonnians, they exalt battle. They believe in... young Bretonnians are raised to exalt battle, to seek out battle, to become victorious warriors. They do that because partly for their own vainglory, but also because they wish to protect the women. They wish to protect their damsels. They wish to protect their maidens, their mothers, their wives, their sisters, their daughters. So to say women are also able to be warriors kind of ruins that aspect, because now it's just everyone. You go from the very little honor and nobility that the knights have of defending their families and defending the realm to they're just a bunch of fucking psychopaths, which, I mean, some of them are. But the rooting point is they're defending their women. They're defending their land and their peasants to some extent. So now they're defending their peasants? That's their motivation, not defending their women and earning the love of a woman through valiant deeds. Like, I love a good warrior woman. Don't get me wrong. Implement the fucking Amazons. You already have warrior women in the fucking setting. Implement the Amazons. Bring back the Lamian sisterhood. The Daughters of Sigmar, I believe, is or the Sisters of Sigmar. The fantasy version of the Sisters of Battle. The Ice Guard in Kislev. The freaking I think Shield Maidens were a dedicated unit for Norsko, something like that. Like, I do know that Egil Stjernbjorn has daughters that fight in battle. Like, there are many other ways to have women represented in warfare, in Warhammer. So why are you doing this? Why are you doing this that blatantly destroys an existing setting? Like, okay, I understand the reason. I understand the rationale. It is a bullshit rationale. I'm still probably going to get this book. I'm still probably going to get this book just because, I need to read it myself. I need to understand what the context is. I'm still going to probably hate it, just like I ended up hating Gothgol Hollow and Dynasty of Monsters, but it's Bretonnia. It's Warhammer. I need to do it. Thank you for watching this video. I have been the Shadow of the Hawk, and if you're in the comments down below saying I'm going to be wrong, dude, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm probably going to be right. Later, y'all.